Students, let us start our class with the chapter Locomotion and Movement. And whenever we talk about the characteristics of living organisms, we say that the living organisms grow, they show the movement or the locomotion. So it is one of the significant feature of living beings that when we talk about the living organisms, we say that living organisms move. Now, if we talk about the plants, they also show a wide range of movement. How these plants show the wide range of movement? We have seen that the roots they grow towards the soil and the stem it grows towards light. So these are also a sort of movements. Now, when we talk about the unicellular organisms like amoeba, so in the amoeba, what is happening? Movement of the protoplasm means the liquid which is filled inside the cell, the movement of that liquid is taking place. So it is the movement which is shown by the unicellular organisms. Then some cells or some organisms may have cilia, flagella and tentacles. So these cilia, flagella and tentacles, all these are the organs which are used for movement. So cilia, it is hair like structure. These small hair like structures, these are known as cilias. And if that structure, if such type of character is seen in some of the organisms, so this is known as tentacles. And flagellas are also the organs which are used for locomotion. Now, if we talk about human beings have limbs. Limbs means forelimbs and hind limbs, means hands and legs. Forelimbs means front limbs, hands, and hind limbs means legs. So, in human beings, limbs are present which help in movement. Jaws means upper jaw and lower jaw, जिन्हें हम जबड़े कहते हैं, they also show movement. Eyelids, these are the lids present on the eyes, then they also show movement. And tongue, when we speak or when we swallow the food, then it also shows movements. So some type of movement is shown by any of the part of our body, and these movements sometimes result in the change of place also. And if such type of movements which are voluntary, then they are called as locomotion. Means what is the difference between movement and locomotion? When there is change of place, then that movement is called as locomotion. And just simply moving of the things at their place only, this is known as movement. So walking, running, climbing, flying, swimming, all these are the locomotory movements, because whenever we do these movements, there is change of position or change of location. Now, locomotory structures need not be different from those affecting other types of movements. Means the locomotory organs may be same. For example, if we are walking, if we are running, if we are climbing, the same locomotory organs we are using. Then if we talk about paramecium, paramecium has cilia which are small hair-like structure and which helps in the movement and helps in the movement of food. And because of the movement of these cilia, the food will enter into the body of paramecium. Then in hydra also has tentacles, and the tentacles will show the movement and they will capture the prey or the food. And these tentacles also help the hydra in locomotion. Now we can say limbs, forelimbs and hind limbs. We use our hands or legs for the movement also, for the locomotion also, and for changing the body posture also. So we can say that movement and locomotion, they both are related. And when we talk about the movement, then we can say that locomotion is also happening in the body parts. So all locomotions are movements, but all movements are not locomotions. Locomotions means change of position. So all locomotions are movement. When position is changing means we are showing some movement, but all movements are not locomotion, because we are not changing position during movements. Now, method of locomotion is different in different organisms depending upon their habitats, means in which kind of environment the organisms are living and what is the demand of situation, means how is the surrounding. Locomotion is mainly done by the organisms in the search of food, shelter, mate means partner, or for getting suitable breeding grounds, means for place to produce the young ones. and for favorable climatic conditions or to escape from the enemies. So these are the needs which shows these are the needs for locomotion. Now, types of movement. The human body, it shows three main types of movement. First is amoeboid, then second is ciliary, and third is muscular. If we talk about the amoeboid movement, amoeba in actual it doesn't have any fixed shape or structure. So whenever there is something present, the wall or the membrane is extended towards that side. So in our body also, some cells like macrophages and leukocytes are present in blood, and these cells, what they show, they also show the amoeboid movement. So what they will do, it is affected by pseudopodia, means false feet they will form, and in the by the streaming of protoplasm, means when there is movement of protoplasm, these amoeboid will show the amoeboid movement, they will extend their cell membrane. Then second type of movement is ciliary movement. It occurs in the internal tubular organs. In the internal tubular organs, the lining is lined by ciliary structures. So this type of epithelial tissue is called as ciliated epithelial tissue. And these cilia, what they will help, or in which function they will help in the movement of the substances. For example, if we talk about the windpipe or the trachea, so in the trachea, what is moving? Air is moving, and it may contains some dust particles and some foreign substances. So these cilia, what they will do, they will trap these dust particles, and they will help in the movement of air also. Then we talk about the passage of ova. Ova means egg. Female body produces egg, and this egg passes through the female reproductive tract, means ovary produces egg. Then this egg is trapped by then it will reach to the fallopian tube, and means in the female reproductive tract where the fertilization has to take place. So the movement from the ovary through to the fallopian tube, these fallopian tubes, they have cilias in them, and these cilia help the egg to move through the tube. Then third type of movement which is shown by the human body is muscular movement, means muscular movement which helps in the movement of limbs, jaws, tongue, and which are muscles which are connected with the bones. And these muscles, they have a special property, that is of contraction, and because of that most of the multicellular organisms move, because muscles contract and they helps in the locomotion. So perfectly, if we talk about the locomotion is perfectly coordinated activity of muscular, skeletal, and neural system, means whenever there is movement or locomotion in the body, we can say that muscular tissue along with the skeletal, means bones, and neural system, means nerves, all these help in the locomotion. So now in this chapter we will talk about the different types of muscles, their structure, and what is the mechanism of contraction. So first we will study about the muscles. In actual, muscles, their origin is mesodermal in origin. I have talked about this term earlier also. What is mesoderm? Whenever an egg get fertilized, it forms zygote. Now this zygote get divided into many cells, and these cells then themselves arrange in three layers, and these three layers, first one is ectoderm, second is mesoderm, and third one is endoderm. So now what will happen, as these millions of cells, they have arranged themselves in layers during the embryo formation. After the fertilization of the egg, cells will get divided. Zygote, it will become, or it will be converted into many celled structure. Now the cells will arrange themselves in three layers: outer layer ectoderm, inner layer endoderm, and the layer which is present in between, it is called as mesoderm. So these muscles, they are the specialized tissue, and they are formed or derived from mesodermal tissue or the mesodermal layer. Now, if we talk about the this contribution of these muscles in body weight, so 40 to 50% of the body weight of human adult, it is contributed by muscles. And if we talk about the properties, they show excitability, means the muscles get excited, then they get contracted. Extensibility means extension or increase in the length, and elasticity means they can come to their original position when the force applied is removed. So these are the special characteristics which are shown by muscular tissue or the muscles. Now these muscles, they are classified into different categories depending upon where they are present, what is their appearance, and how they regulate the movement. So first type is, depending upon the location, skeletal. So these skeletal muscles, they are present with the skeletal component of the body. Skeletal means with the bones, and their structure, they have stripes or linings present on them, and that's why they are called as striated muscles. And these muscles, their activity is under the control of the nervous system, so they are called as voluntary muscles. For example, if we want to move or if we want to get up, then these muscles will help in the movement or for changing the position. So they are working according to our will. So they are called as voluntary muscles. The next type of muscles, visceral muscles, which are located in the inner walls of the hollow visceral organs, the organs which are present internally into our body. For example, alimentary canal or reproductive tract. So visceral muscles are present there. They do not have any striations or lines are not there. So they are smooth, and that's why they are called as non-striated or smooth muscles. And their activities is not under the control of voluntary control of nervous system, means they are involuntary in function. They will work automatically. For example, once we swallow the food, what happens, that food goes itself into the food pipe, then in the stomach and small intestine and large intestine. So this type of movement, which is taking place itself, is done by the visceral muscles. Then the third type of muscles are cardiac muscles. These muscles, they are present in the heart, and if we talk about the structure, they have a branching pattern, and based upon these branching and appearance, these cardiac muscles, they are striated and they are involuntary, means they will work automatically. Nervous system does not control their activities. So these are the three types of muscles present in the body. Now we will talk about the structure of this skeletal muscle in detail and how this skeletal muscle contracts. So mechanism of contraction. First of all, skeletal muscle in our body, it is, as we are able to see in the diagram also, this is the diagram of the skeletal muscle, and it has different, or it has many muscle bundles or fascicles. And these muscle bundles, as we are able to see here also, these muscle bundles or fascicles, they are many in number. As we have talked about three types of muscles, that is skeletal muscle, visceral muscles, and cardiac muscles. And this chapter is dealing with the locomotion and movement. So we will be studying about the skeletal muscles. So this skeletal muscle, it is made of number of muscle bundles or fascicles. So these are the muscle bundles or fascicles. Many muscle bundles or fascicles are present, and these are held together by a common collagenous connective tissue. So this is a fascicle, this is another fascicle, and these fascicles, they are held together because they have a collagenous connective tissue which will keep these muscle bundles together. And this collagenous connective tissue layer, it is called as fascia. So these fascicles, they are held together by fascia. Now if we talk about the internal structure, then muscle bundle, it contains number of muscle fibers. Muscle fibers are present inside these muscle bundles, and each muscle fiber, so it is a muscle fiber, it is lined by a layer, and this layer it is called as sarcolemma. In most of the cells, what this outer layer is called, it is called as plasma membrane. So here this plasma membrane, it is named as sarcolemma, and inside this liquid is present which is known as sarcoplasm. Now these muscle fibers, they are syncytium. Syncytium means, see, this is the vesicle. Now these are the muscle fibers, and this is the structure of a muscle fiber. So this outer layer, it is called as sarcolemma, and inside what is present, sarcoplasm, and it has many nucleus, and many nucleus single cell, then the condition is called as syncytium condition. Now this endoplasmic reticulum, it has calcium ions. Lot of calcium ions are present in it. So it is the storehouse of calcium ions, and these calcium ions, they are necessary for the formation of these muscle fibers or the vesicles. Now what is special about these muscle fiber? That they are parallelly arranged in the sarcoplasm. So this is the liquid sarcoplasm, and in this what are present, these muscle fibers, they are present parallelly, and the structure they forms, it is called as myofibrils. Now these myofibrils, they have dark and light bands. So I think it is clear to you. This is sarcolemma. In it sarcoplasm is present. Now here what is special, that these muscle fibers, they have parallelly arranged filaments, and these parallelly arranged filaments, they are called as myofibrils, and these myofibrils have alternatively light and dark bands, and these light and dark bands, they give the striated appearance or the lined appearance, and that is because of the distribution of two important proteins. So these lined appearance, that is because of the two different types of proteins present, as we are able to see in the diagram. These are the two lined structure, and this is because of the two important proteins, actin and myosin, and the light band contains actin and the dark band contains myosin. Now this light band that contains actin, at it is called as I band, as we are able to see here also. So this band, it is called as I band, this band. And whereas the dark band, it is called as A band. So it is the dark band which is known as A or anisotropic band. So I band light, called as isotropic, A band dark, it is called as anisotropic. So this light band, it has actin, and this dark band, it has myosin. So these are the two types of proteins, and both the proteins, they are arranged in the rod like structure. So these are the rod like structures, and they are parallel to each other. We are able to see here, this is actin and this is myosin, rod like structures, and they are arranged parallelly to each other. Now actin filament, it is thinner, and myosin, it is thicker. So commonly called as thin and thick filaments, because actin is thinner, so it is called as thin filament. And in the center of each I band, so this is the I band, and in the center of each I band there is a Z line. So this is the Z line. These are the Z lines, and what these Z lines are doing, they are bisecting this I band. Here also this Z line, it is bisecting this I band. Now thick filament. This thick filament means A band, and it has a line that is called as M line. So between these two, it is called as M line. And the portion of the myofibril between two successive Z lines, this is the first Z line and this is the second Z line, and the distance or the portion between these two successive Z lines, it is the functional unit where the contraction of these muscles will take place, and it is called a sarcomere. And whenever our muscles are in resting stage, what will happen, these two filaments, as they are shown actin and myosin, what they will do, they will be partially overlapping each other, and their free ends of the thick filament leaving the central part of thick filament. As you are able to see, this is thin filament, this is thick filament, they are overlapping each other, and what is left? This central part of the thick filament, it is left, and this central part which is not overlapped, it is called as Z zone. Now this Z zone, it is the structure, it is the part of the thick filament which is not overlapped. So this is about the structure of or the movement of muscle fibers, that is a sarcomere. Now we will talk about the structure of contractile proteins. Now we have talked that there are two proteins, actin and myosin, and these are contractile in nature. There are two contractile proteins, actin and myosin. Now this each actin, because first we will study the structure of actin. This actin filament, it is made of two F actins, and these F actins, they are helically wound towards each other. So this is the structure of actin, and as we are able to see here, this actin, it is formed by two filamentous actins, and these filamentous actins, they are helically wound around each other. So first F actin, the structure of one strand we will study. It is a polymer of G proteins. So many G proteins, they are joined together and they are forming the polymer of these globular proteins or globular actins. So it's very simple. What we have studied, actin. So this actin, it is a filamentous structure, helically wound, and these two filaments which are helically wound around each other, and they are made of globular actins. Now these two filaments of another protein, one more protein is present here, that is tropomyosin, that also run close to this F actin. So these are the two F actins, and one more protein, that is tropomyosin, it is also running parallel throughout its length. And then one complex protein, troponin, is also distributed at the regular intervals at tropomyosin. So there are three type of, we can say, actin. It is three type of proteins. This actin, helically wound, it consists of G or globular actins. Then tropomyosin is there, and third is troponin is there. Tropomyosin, it runs parallelly, and troponin, it is present at the regular intervals. And when resting stage is there, this troponin, it masks the active binding site, where जहाँ पर भी active bind site बन रही है, here also this troponin, it is masking or it is present on the tropomyosin. Now the next structure, it is of myosin. It is a filament because there are two proteins present in the muscles, actin and myosin. It is the structure of myosin. It is thick filament and it is a polymerized protein. So polymerization of proteins has formed this myosin. Here also monomers will join, and these monomeric proteins, they will form meromyosin, and which forms a thick filament. This meromyosin, it has two main parts, a globular head. This is the globular head. It consists of with a short arm and a tail. So these are the parts, and these parts in which the former being called the heavy myosin. This is heavy meromyosin, and the later part is called as lighter meromyosin. So myosin, it is made of meromyosins. It is divided into three parts, globular head, then short arm and tail, and the former one are heavy, that's why they are called as HMM, and the last one, they are lighter, that's why they are called as LMM. So these heavy particles or the heavier component, it consists of head and short arm, whereas the lighter, it consists of